My name is Bobby Duval. I'm the Chief Deputy with the Brown County Sheriff's Office. When I talk with supervisors, one thing that I always try to remember to remind them of is that you can never underestimate the power of your leadership, the power of your personality before people. You can walk in all day long and make decisions and do so many different things with people and manipulate the environment, hopefully make us more productive, more courageous, doing our work more efficiently, all of those things we want to do. But in the course of doing everyday work as police officers and police supervisors, I think our largest mistake is that as supervisors, we do not fully grasp the power that we truly have over our officers to influence them in the right way. And I think as I come to grips with my own personal power, I believe another dimension of that, I can't say that without saying this, is that I must understand what the true meaning of power really is. I think power is something that is vested in me to give to others to do the right thing. I've got a good friend of mine that often tells me, he said, when I'm involved with some major decision that has to go on in the organization and I want it to be the right decision, the first thing I think of is take myself out of the equation. Divest myself and approach it with humility, and whether I keep my job or not, take myself out of the equation and invest myself into those people. That's a great illustration of power. And I think when you understand power and you understand your capacity to influence those that are around you, and you pursue that in a great sort of way, always mindful of it, when you do that, I just think there's a way that you become a father figure to a lot of guys. And I don't wear that compliment well. I don't know why. I kind of, when somebody, well, thanks, or you did this, or they make some kind of compliment about me, I just often think if I could walk away with having influenced him to do one thing well, it would be to influence them to capture the vision of what power and influence really means and pursue it well with great humility. If you could clone officers to do that, I think your footprint behind you is going to be very well placed, and they'll have a good example to go by, no matter what. It's a courage thing. It's a leadership thing. It's where you sense to the core of who you are that I got to separate from the crowd right here, and I've got to make the call. Courage. We keep going back to that word, but it's a lifeblood of law enforcement. It's a lifeblood of this word called character that we so deeply seek out in our officers and our people. It takes a lot of courage in today's world to be a good police officer. In today's world, I used to think back in my younger days it took an awful lot of courage, but I believe as the times get, and the culture and all of that is so changing every day with technology and all of the things our guys face, I think courage is more necessary than it has ever been in the history of mankind. I truly believe that. I think the criticisms, speaking of government, there's so much that is going on in government today that I think it is just that that when you see the hiccups that happen in the failures that happen on governmental leaders, regardless of their party, I think it just comes out of that one element of personal courage. The ability to see the common good that can be gained out of hard decision making. And let me touch on that one more thing. There's another dimension of courage that I think, how do you develop courage? For me, I think the best way to develop officers to be more courageous, to build that bank of ability internally to say and do and speak the right things at the right time is by going through the difficult, by personal discipline. When you have men and women that are always on the more easier path of life, and we have this tendency in our culture to always kind of pick the easy route, I think we lose the opportunity to increase our bank of courage. Hardship, what's the old adage that we say in leadership? Problems are nothing but opportunities in disguise. I think hardship is opportunity in disguise also. I think when we have difficult things that happen to us on a regular basis and we decide to drive through them rather than kind of feeling our way for the easy way out, then I think there's something magical within us that, we learn this capacity to go through that fire a little at a time and build our capacity to make courageous decisions as time goes on. Well, if I'm constantly looking for the easy way out, I'm going to constantly make uncourageous decisions. And I think sometimes with government leaders, we're afraid to say and do the hard things that are so critically important to our people and our country. Just here in Commissioner's Court, we just had our most contentious Commissioner's Court of the 7 years that I've been here, mainly because we're out of money. The county doesn't have the monetary resources that they once had, and so funds are few, and we had to fight just to keep people instead of lay people off. And I think the closer we are to the problem, the closer we have to get to that problem to make the hard decisions, the more effective we are. I think sometimes government gets so spread out and so broad and such a great span of control that it disables our governmental leaders to get personal enough to make the hard calls. And I think there's always a blessing in hard decision making, in hard events, somehow, some way. And I think good leaders kind of come to grips with that.